we all know that we must restructure. I mean, it's either we restructure or we break. That means say you don't have to be a prophet to know that one. That is certain to come. Restructure or break up.
Nigeria has been designated as a failed state in terms of the kind of violence we are seeing, widespread insecurity, terrorism, the abuse of humanity, criminality, rape, killing, maiming, destruction. We are a failing state. And the solution is nothing than the need to give birth to a new Nigeria. But now today we are seeing that a fraudulent constitution in the hands of people who have hidden agendas, who hate our country, who are beholden to Niger, Mali, Chad, and other foreign countries. They have nothing to offer us. Well, I will tell you, in the Northeast alone, more than 3,000 churches have been destroyed. More than 400 priests and pastors have been killed. And there is a pattern that is reserved only for Christians, and that is beheading. Last year, the Khan chairman of Adeboye was beheaded, even after a ransom was paid. We have been told that the so-called bandits, you pressmen have been forced to call them bandits. They are not bandits because bandits do not bring down military aircraft. No bandit has the capacity to bring down a military aircraft. No bandit has the power to attack Nigerian Defense Academy, the premier institution for the training of our armed forces. No bandit has the capacity. Only terrorists have the capacity. We are being told that these terrorists are part of the insurgents because they do these kidnappings, they raise this money in order to fund the insurgents. And General Abacha said that if insurgency goes for more than 24 hours, some people in high places know something about it.
I mean, it's either we restructure or we break. That means say you don't have to be a prophet to know that one.
Wait. There is something that this man of God said, Pastor Adeboye. He said something. He said, it's neither we restructure or we divide. That you don't need to be a man of God to know that. Immediately I heard this word, I say, oh, this is it. You don't need to be a man of God. You don't need anybody to prophesy to you about the state of Nigeria now. You don't need somebody to come and start preaching to you about what is happening in Nigeria. You don't need. With the way things are going in Nigeria, I have talked about restructuring. Regional government. Let every person or let every group or every region manage what they have. And then at the end, they will have, the federal. Personally, I've said it and I'm saying it again. I don't believe in restructuring. Instead, let me bring another option. If they don't want to believe in dividing straight, let them do a referendum. Let the people choose. So that they don't go to restructuring again. And then after 5 years or 10 years, people will start to, say that they don't want restructuring again. So let them just kukuma do referendum and allow people to choose what they want. I think for me, that is another way to go. Let them do referendum, allow people to vote and see what they want. Do you want restructuring? Do you want division? Or do you want one Nigeria? Whichever one. That is what I think that should be done. But restructuring, they go still do wayo on top. Oyibo people go still come. Give them idea on how to do wayo on top restructuring. I'm telling you. I know one atom of, I don't believe anything restructuring. Personally, I'm telling you my own opinion. You can still believe in whatever you believe. But I think that whatever you believe, I think that the best way to go about it is to do referendum. Let the people vote what they want. If they want to remain together, if they want restructuring, if they want division, and then let the people decide what they want. For me, I believe in what? Into 7 or into 6, whichever way. Not into 3, whether 6 or 7. Let every person or let every region be on their own. There are so many countries in Africa that one state in Nigeria is bigger than. Burkina Faso, Cameroon, call them Cameroon, Niger Republic, all of them. One state in Nigeria is bigger than them. So, and they are countries of their own. So, that is just my own opinion. Now, I'm going to allow you to watch the full video and hear the other things that he said. But just know this, that you don't need a man of God to tell you that Nigeria needs division or restructuring. Say, Pastor E.A. Adeboye. Please watch this video, then you drop your comment on the comment section what you think.
Can you identify 3 of the most pressing problem of Nigeria that we can contextualize into our conversation? What would you say, Prof, if you have the solution on your left hand to fix a problem? What would you identify as 3 major Nigerian problems?
The first one I will identify is lack of nationhood. Nigeria is a country still yearning for nationhood.
What does that mean?
What it means is that we are not united. We are still what Chief Obafemi Awolowo once called a piece of geographical expression. Ahmadu Bello once said it was a piece of historical mistake, because we were cobbled together on 3rd January 2014 by Lord Lugard, the Southern and Northern Confederates, and the Lagos colony, after Nigeria had been given her name by a young British author who wrote in the London Financial Times of 8th January 1897, calling it Nigeria, that Niger area.
Mm-hmm.
That is first major problem. In other words, we were cobbled together through the direct and indirect rule system that we were operating, with all of us already enjoying our independence. The Benin Empire, the Oyo Empire, the Kanem-Borno Empire, the ancient Ife. We were already independent, having our own systems of government, and we were happy. Jaja Fopobo, Nana Ofichekire, Oba of Beramino Baise of Benin, who beat the British back with bare knuckles, for which he was deported to Calabar, where he lived and died 27 years later. So such people that were already used to their independence and ways of life, to put them together and say they cannot now discuss their future.
Is it the reason for the agitation we see in Nigeria? This idea of lack of nationhood.
In fact, it is the beginning and the end of it. I can assure you that you were talking about 3 problems. I identified that one major problem. If you don't have nationhood and nobody believes in Nigeria as a country, if I ask you, Shew, where are you from? You won't say I'm in Nigeria. You first quickly mention your village and then your state. Then you are filling a form. After asking you for your name, the next question is place of origin. You put it town, they say local government. You put it, they say state. You put it, then they say religion. You are already being typified. You are already being profiled to know whether what we want here can come to you or not come to you.
But how do we resolve this? Because either we like it, you are an Ozekome.
Yeah.
You have your origin.
Yes.
You are of the Edo origin.
Yes.
And if you want to drill down, you can tell who your forefathers are.
Yeah, yeah.
I am on Okimbaloye,
yeah.
and I can also tell who my forefathers are.
Yeah.
But can we take away the fact that we are different tongues? Our tongues differ.
No.
And our presidents who have constituted conferences, at least 2 of the presidents have said, you can have every conversation, but the unity of Nigeria is non-negotiable. The former President Goodluck Jonathan said as much. In those kind of conversations, the fear of disintegration and some people wanting to exit the nation,
yeah,
might start, don't you think?
Now, I tell you, Shew, I am not saying every Nigerian should now be the same person. In fact, I've always argued, and everybody, I'm on record to say that of Professor Onigu Otite's 374 ethnic groups in Nigeria through his demographic survey. He was a great sociologist that speak over 380 languages. Each of them must have a place and be respected in where he comes from. But when you want to roughing it over others, for example, like former President Buhari calling a whole ethnic group, one of the three largest ethnic groups, the Igbos, Southeast, as a dot in the cycle. What will you call me? A minority within a minority from Ijukwe, near Agenebude, East local government area of Edo State. What are you going to call me? But in America, for example, they first ask you, what's your name? You tell them. They say, where are you from? We ask you, what do you mean? You mean where I work? Or where I schooled? Or where I live now? Or where I was born? Because each of them would have been different. But they regard themselves as Americans. So they have what you call faith in their country. We do not have faith in our country. How do we do that? That is why when you go around on a Sunday, tomorrow is Sunday, today is Sunday. If you are going around, you will see different town unions. Where will you see a Nigerian union holding a meeting? So it's like the Bible. It says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all things shall be added. If we get it right constitutionally, because the present foundations are fundamentally damaged, they are damaged. I give you an example, Sheung. If you have a house that the walls are cracking, how do you repair the walls? Do you go to the walls, you take a hammer, you begin to chisel it with a chisel, right? Then you get cement, mortar, you call it bricklayer, and say, help me patch this wall. He patches it. In 1 or 2 months' time, more chaos, more gullies, more cracks appear on the wall. You have to look for the cause of that wall. You discover that there's a big tree in your compound whose trees have sprouted. They have become so big that they have gone towards the foundation of the house, and is what is actually threatening it to fall. What do you do to that tree? You don't go to the tree and cut off the branches, because the branches will grow anyway again, and the walls will continue to crack. You go to the tree, to the roots, uproot it. So
you see, when we begin to talk about Nigeria from the year 2060, the first question that a mathematician will want to ask is, one, are we sure there will be Nigeria in the year 2060? In other words, you're talking about something that you are not 100% sure will be there at the time you are talking about it. You see, because before we can begin to discuss Nigeria of 2060, we need to address the problems that we have right now, that if these problems are not solved, then this will be just an academic exercise. Not that I don't enjoy the exercise. I mean, it's very refreshing. But you see, I think on one of the occasions when I was on a long flight from London to Singapore, a journey of about 13 hours or something. After you've eaten and you slept and you woke up and then discover you still have some 7 hours to go, definitely you have time to fool around a little bit. And then I was thinking about Nigeria. And I have these thoughts within myself, which I think I will just share with you. By the time I finish sharing it, you are likely to consider it a joke from a mathematician, because after all, mathematicians can be eccentric at times. I just felt that why can't we have a system of government that is 100% Nigeria, unique to us? For example, we started off with the British system of government. Somewhere along the line, we moved over to the American system of government. Now, I was just wondering, can't we have a combination of both and see whether it could help us solve a problem? You see, because in mathematics, if you want to solve a problem and you try what we call real analysis and it doesn't work, then you move on to complex analysis and see if that will help you. If that fails, you move on to vector analysis and so on. I believe that probably we might need to look at the problem of Nigeria in a slightly different manner. You see, because some people feel that all our problems will be over if Nigeria should break up. I think that is trying to solve the problem of Nigeria as if it's a simple equation problem. The problems of Nigeria will require quite a bit of simultaneous equations, and some of them are not going to be linear either. Forgive me, I'm talking as a mathematician. So I was thinking, why can't we, for example, have a system of government that will create a kind of what I would call United States of Nigeria? And let me explain. We all know that we must restructure. I mean, it's either we restructure or we break. That means say you don't have to be a prophet to know that one. That is certain to come. Restructure or break up. Now, we don't want to break up. I mean, God forbid. In restructuring, why don't we have, like I said, a Nigerian kind of democracy? At the federal level, for example, why don't we have a president and a prime minister? Hey, what do you mean? Well, if we have a president and a prime minister and we share responsibilities between these two, so that one is not an appendage of the other. For example, if the president controls the army and the prime minister controls the police, if the president controls, shall we say, resources like oil and mining, and the prime minister controls finance and inland revenue, taxes and customs, etc., etc. You just divide the responsibilities between the two. And then you come to the state level. And at the state level, you have the governor and you have the premier. And again, you distribute responsibilities between these people in such a manner that one cannot really go all alone without the other. Maybe this is just a mathematical suggestion, and a mathematician can be eccentric, like I've said. Maybe we might begin to tackle the problem. And if we're going to adopt this model, which you eminent personalities will be able to talk about, I think that we will need urgently to restore what we used to call the House of Chiefs. I have a feeling that one of our major problems is that we have pushed the traditional rulers to the background. And I believe that's a great error, particularly for a country like Nigeria. You see, I find it very ridiculous that one will ask a traditional ruler to inform the chairman of his local government before he travels. Go to any town in Nigeria. Everybody in the town knows who is the paramount ruler, and they respect him. Many of them don't even know the name of the chairman of their local government. The traditional rulers are the actual landlords. They control the respect of their people. Their people will listen to them much more than, I'm sorry to say, they will listen to some politicians. And so just like they have, say, the House of Lords in Britain, why can't we have the House of Chiefs? We might expand it and include in that House of Chiefs, as they do in Britain, include some religious leaders, bishops. I'm not a bishop, I'm a pastor, so don't think I'm including myself. Bishops, chief imams, and so on and so on. These are people who can shape the opinions of the people. I'm just putting that one as a little presentation to those of you who can think about it. Maybe it will help us to get Nigeria going. And then, without any doubt, we must restructure and do it as soon as possible. A United States of Nigeria is likely to survive much more than our present structure.
All right. Anyway, I'll remind you that word again. You don't need to be a man of God. You don't need to be any pastor. You don't need anything. You don't even need somebody to prophesy to you to know that Nigeria needs division or restructuring. Thank you very much. Please do well to drop your comment on the comment section what you think. I'll see you in my next video. Thank you very much and God bless you.